If you're a skinny guy trying to build muscle, listen up. In this video, I'm going to break down the most effective exercises that I use to transform my physique from very skinny to slightly less skinny, more muscular, more jacked. Anyway, here's how I did it. You might be wondering, who's this guy? Why should I listen to him? If you're new to the channel, my name is Sean. A few years ago, I decided to go to the gym and start training because, well, I was tired of being skinny. However, through some lonely nights, I managed to gain some decent muscle and size. However, I wasted a lot of time doing all sorts of movements, all sorts of exercises that were just a waste of time, Social media now, you'll be scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, you'll see a new movement. They're calling it the most optimal. Some are effective, some are complete rubbish, some are mid, and you just have to be able to pick out the gold from the junk so that you don't spend hours and hours in the gym wasting time. That's where I come in. So I'm going to split this video into two parts. This first video will be chest, back and your shoulders. If this video does well, I'll probably make a part 2 covering maybe triceps, biceps, legs, traps and other muscles like that. I also want to mention at the end of this video, I'll be giving an honorary mention. These are basically like some movements that didn't make it into this video but are still really good exercises that you guys should add to your routine. So make sure you watch this video till the end. Alright, straight into it. Let's start off with the muscle. Everybody's favorite muscle train, your chest. This is one of the most trained muscle groups. It's not that complicated to train actually, because everybody knows you have to do bench press, some form of pressing, some flies. However, most skinny guys still pick the wrong exercises to grow your chest. You want to focus on building your upper chest early on, as it is what will give you that aesthetic bodybuilder physique. So the exercises that I use: incline dumbbell press, incline Smith machine, and then you have an option to choose between a pec deck fly or normal cable flies. I feel like both of them do pretty much the same thing. I do switch up between the two from time to time, and you guys can see which one you prefer. I sometimes do cable fly, sometimes I do pec deck. All these exercises target your upper chest, which is very important, and as they're also excellent at building a big chest, a full chest, a chest which you can see even when you're wearing a shirt. People can be able to tell that this guy has a big chest. I used to do all sorts of ineffective chest movements like flat bench press, chest flies with dumbbell. I'm not saying that if you do these, flat bench press and stuff, you won't grow. I'm just saying that you're leaving a lot of gains on the table. Just take a look at this picture of me. When I first started, I was doing flat bench press for my chest. You can clearly see I had some definition on my lower pecs, but my upper chest was completely non-existent. You can see the difference in my chest when I started prioritizing these 3 movements. And guys, I'm not on steroids. This is completely natural. All I did was start prioritizing my upper chest. Okay, moving on to the next muscle group in this video, we have back. It's one of the main muscle groups of the body. Makes you look like you lift. Everybody wants a huge, wide back. That is actually one of the simplest and most fun muscles to train, because it's not really that complicated, but it can also be difficult, especially if you don't pick the right movements for your back. So for the back, I prioritize width. That's lat training, focusing on your lats, as well as mass. 2 main movements for each. We're going to do 2 main movements for the lats and 2 main movements for mass. So starting off with mass, which I feel like is very important. Most people walk around with a wide back, but when they put on a shirt, you can't tell that they go to the gym. Barbell rows. If you guys are trying to add mass to your back and you're not doing barbell rows, you are wasting your time. Trust me. If you're one of these guys that's going to the gym and you go straight to the lat pull down machine, straight into the cables, you're missing out on a lot of gain. There is no back day without some heavy rows. I often see skinny guys coming to the gym for back day. They head straight into training their lats, lat cable machines, pull-ups. I recommend starting off your back days with some heavy barbell rows. Even if it's not rows with a barbell, there is this new movement I've been seeing. I've forgotten the machine's name. I'll put it in this video, where you're able to, it's just supported, but you're able to do your rows. I feel like that one's also really good. Most gyms don't have it. Some gyms do. If your gym doesn't have it, just get a barbell and make sure you start off your back day with some heavy rows. Trust me, it will pay off. The next exercise we have is pull-up. One of the most underrated exercises. Trains your back. All the muscles in your back get hit when you're doing this movement. I usually start off my back days with pull-ups. Sometimes I even start with pull-ups when I'm training my chest, my arms, because they're a great way to target all the muscles in your back. Great way to warm up your back. And if you're a beginner, you can do them assisted. I know most gyms now have the assisted pull-up machine. Then as you work your way up, if you're able to do weighted pull-ups, you can add some weight to your pull-up. Then we have cable lat pull-downs and seated cable rows. These 4 exercises, for the lat pull downs, I don't really need to say much. Everybody does them. Just get on your lat machine, pick an attachment. It doesn't really matter which attachment you use, I'll be honest. I go off what feels good for me. So these 4 exercises are what I use to transform my back from this to this, so prioritize them and I guarantee your back gains will be insane. Now for the final muscle group of this video, it's one of my most enjoyable muscles to train, and that's your shoulders. When I started my workout journey, I used to watch guys like David Lade, Alex Eubank. You know, that type of physique is the one I always wanted, it's the one I worked towards. And one of the key features, if you look at their physiques, is big, broad, rounded shoulders. Now, I've made countless videos on this channel talking about how to grow your shoulders, methods I used to train my shoulders, all wrong when I started, you know, focusing on the wrong movements. And as you can see, my shoulders stayed stagnant, you know. This is actually quite simple, you know. You need some form of pressing movement, whether it's with dumbbells, whether it's a shoulder press machine, it doesn't really matter. Military press. The real gains of the shoulders is in the side delts. Spam lateral raise, literally as simple as that. I literally add these at the end of almost every single workout. Even when I've trained my legs, I add lateral raises. Even when I've trained my back, I add lateral raises. Even when I'm not training shoulders, because they are so effective and they give your shoulders that rounded, wide look from the side and from the front. If you've been in the gym community long enough, you know Jeff Nippard. Jeff Nippard has talked about, you know, spamming lateral raises, doing them so effectively, and you guys know that, you know, whatever Jeff Nippard says goes. So guys, make sure you spam your lateral raises. For the form, you guys want to be careful that your traps don't take over. I'm not saying, you know, some little trap gains are bad, but like if you want to target your side delts, I recommend starting with lower weights. You know, start off with lower weights until you're able to control the weight for the whole movement. Some people, I see them going too heavy with the lateral raises and they end up training their lats instead of their shoulders, instead of their side delts. Sticking with shoulders, you need to add some form of rear delts into your shoulder training. Some people think you don't need to because, you know, you train your rear delts when you're hitting your back, because when you're doing your chest, you hit your rear delts. Look at this picture of me when I started to train. This was like after like 8 months of training. Look at this picture of me now. You can clearly see from this side by side the difference when I started training my rear delts. You can clearly see that my shoulders look way more full from the side. They look proper rounded. You know, this is because of training my rear delts. So make sure it's actually quite simple. Just add some reverse pec deck flies into your training. If your gym doesn't have a pec deck machine, just get some dumbbells, lie on a bench, you know, support yourself on a bench and just do some rear delt, you know, flies on a bench. It's not complicated, you know. That's literally all I do for my rear delts. So make sure your form is proper and grow those shoulders.